This work here is from Dennis Oppenheim, and this show is an attempt to locate works by Dennis where they could be effective in the world. Jamaica Bay, for example, over here in Tunisia and Algeria, over here in Libya and Egypt, and then over there we showed what they could be done in the Dead Sea Basin of Jordan and Israel. And finally, to build a trench, Dave, right here. Build a trench into the salt lakes that are here. These are all dead salt lakes.
In Tunisia.
In Tunisia. Here's the border with Tunisia and Algeria. These are also dead salt lakes where they're below sea level. They can be filled with water, and they sometimes do. That's why it's blue. And you would begin to cut a channel from the Mediterranean Sea into this area and out, back out, and have waters flow in and out. And as you do that, begin to wash away the alluvium. The point here being that this used to be a gulf. That's why it's a gulf. This was a gulf in the time of Herodotus. It became filled up with sediment because the land from the desert came down and flooded, filled in that trough.
What we're going to talk about very specifically is how can work be implemented? A project such as Peter's and many other artists who are working outside of the art world structure try to get work done, often can successfully, but mostly not. So we're going to ask the questions about how does an artist continue to make art that pushes boundaries in a climate with less support than ever, and one that does not encourage work that is not a commercial object, but instead fosters unique vision, and or critique our time in a simply challenging and thought-provoking way. Artists do need to think about teamwork in order to achieve this, that's right. But the steps are?
Well, presenting the work so that someone whose vision is not artistic can understand clearly what your intentions are and can be convinced that it's a good idea and that it's worth their investment, I think. And sometimes you have to present it in many different ways and make it extremely clear and spell it out to them exactly what they're going to get.
The aim now, in terms of, say, Tunisia, or investment banking, more to the point, how do we get people who are investment banking, how do we get people who are involved in financing to start allocating money towards projects which are in the nature of a bit of a proposal, sort of dreamy, but they are realistic, they could be done. It was remarked by actually a former investment banker here speaking in the opening, a man named Guy Udo, that the main problem in Wall Street was that they are very, very conventional in the kind of things they invest in. Is there a way to have investment done on these more adventurous projects?
Well, it's all about profit, right? So the pursuit of profit. And right now, as you all know, it's like the system is coming to an end. Like there's an overproduction of the capitalism. That's what it's causing this financial crisis, right? So clearly, they will need transformation for the whole system model, the financial one.
I know that I once was talking to Laurie Anderson, who was the first and only artist in residence at NASA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she's brilliant. She's in Brooklyn.
And she's like,
Who always hangs out with her?
you know, she's an extraordinary person, and I was astounded that NASA had an artist and just contemplated the role of an artist, given, you know, the exploration of the stars and everything that we do. And then, of course, when funding came through and they had $1 billion budget, some congressman said, "Here's $30,000 for an artist. Let's get rid of that." And that was something that ended. But you know, just sort of this role of the artist does bring a very, very different view and a different eye to projects. And I'm always impressed that when you're sitting around a room, whether it's with investment bankers or lawyers, somebody that thinks outside the box and comes up with a suggestion or a way of doing it, makes the project happen in a way that
$1 trillion
everybody's looking at.
can really make people like perk up.
I think
Yeah.
that's a
But-
really
and
great
so I-
point.
Yeah, so I think that what does the artist do? The artist sees outside the box.
Absolutely.